Okay, we're still on API design, and we stopped at pagination, sorting, and filtering. So we'll be continuing with pagination, sorting, and filtering today. Okay. So I actually changed my machine, and I forgot to push that. I forgot to push API versioning branch to GitHub. So I think I don't have it here, and it's not on GitHub, but thanks to the recordings, you can still access that video and then watch and then implement it. But I'm not going over that again. What I will do is I will just use this. I will just use what we have here to continue with our course. So in this case, we have controllers here, tasks. Okay, I think I should. I should make it bigger. Yeah, I think like this is okay. Or like this. Okay. So we're on the API design, the API design feature. I mean, the API design branch. So I think we should remain on that branch because we're still talking about filtering. We'll start with pagination. And then we implemented pagination. Let's open our Postman. Postman is taking a little bit of time. I actually changed my machine and forgot to set up all these things. Well, let's see. Let me just log in, then we'll continue. Shouldn't take much time. Okay, let me sign in with Google. Okay, I've signed in and Postman is loading. Let's give it a little bit of time. Okay, but we're starting with pagination. So first of all, let's grab the things we need in the request query. The things that we'll be sending. We'll be sending page, sort, title, and a filter, I think, like so. So in here, I think we should just remove the whole object. Since we're starting with pagination, I'll make it a little bit faster. Check our Postman. Okay, Postman is okay now. Let's start our server npm on dev, like so. Okay, we're on the KodeCamp. Let's cd to express task manager. Okay, we are now in our express task manager folder. Then npm run dev. Okay. npm I, which is npm install. Because I actually cloned this from GitHub and did not install the dependencies, so I'll have to install everything. npm I. Then we're making a request to, what's this? Okay. http://localhost 3000. With a body of this is slash comment, please. Let's check out the okay, so we'll be making a post request to token auth. First of all, log in and create some tags that we can use to test our pagination. So let's come over here and see slash token register like this. Then the body or with we should just close this with the type of JSON. Then we'll have our username. This is SGH385 with CSGH like so. And after installing everything here, okay, let's give it a little bit of time to this our route. Let's create another one for the tasks. http://localhost /tasks like so. Okay. So now that begin our pagination. So what we'll be getting from our query, we'll be getting the page, the sort, title, and then filter. We'll see we need the page. Should we say page count is equal to parse int page. We need page to be a number, but actually it's coming in as a string. So now go ahead and see we need the page size equal to, let's say 2. And then we say const page count multiplied by 1 multiplied by our page size, like so. And we explain over it again. What's happening here? This is taking a whole lot of time. Tapping, okay. Stop it and then run it again. Okay, so the skip, and now our pagination should look something like our previous class. So we're not going over it again. We're just going to implement it straight. And find main function, we have an object, and then we have skip. And then we don't need to say skip. We use the EA6 syntax, skip, and then skip the offset and take the page size. So now I think we're done installing. Do you have any issues? One moderate severity. Okay, we're not going to be running npm audit. Let's just go ahead. Say npm run. Okay. We have another problem here. Our dot. Sorry, .env. Okay, so DB. Log into our MongoDB Atlas to get our database URL. Very quick, because I think that's all the class we have. Verify. So we can quickly grab our MongoDB URL and then make use of it in our application. It's loading. It shouldn't take forever. We don't have time. Not algo index, it's KCTM. I think it's here in the overview. Yes. And then we grab this in here, like so. Then we change this password to SES. And that's the password, and then here is a KCTM, like so. Database URL is equal to like this. And let's check. Database URL is correct. Database URL, okay. So now let's go ahead and start our server again. See. Okay, Express, say Express is one deprecated. Request secrets, okay. That is, but our server make a request. First of all, log and register a user. Register. Server name port undefined. Okay, let's say port here is for 3000. Port is equal to 3000. Run the server again. Okay, server running port 3000. So send the request. Internet server error. Sending password token auth localhost 3000 / token auth / register. And username password. Let's check our index file. token auth. And in our route, we have the register. Okay. So why is sending internet server error headers? Sorry. Username, password, HTTP/localhost 3000 token auth. Okay, don't know what's the problem, but we're actually getting an internet server error here, of which I don't know what the problem is. Okay. And this shouldn't be happening. This shouldn't be happening. Okay, let's check our database and then do something. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you. I'm Adineko Adiola. The thing is, I'm yet to submit my blog API because I've been really busy. I'm a final year student of University of Ibadan, so I've been really busy writing proposals for my project, and all you get. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, like, is it not too late for me to submit today?
No, it's not too late.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, you can go ahead and submit it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Okay, we've actually deleted that. So let's restart our server again. And this should not continue, please. Change it to token auth. Okay. So login. What actually is the problem here? Okay, what we will do now is let's just come over to these tasks, the route. Since we don't know what the problem is, then let's remove in the task, let's remove all of this. Since let's remove the token auth, the get task validation, and the validate, let's remove everything. And then in the create the post, also we'll remove everything like so. Okay, and then we try creating, okay. So now we'll go to our tasks and then we'll create a post request with a body of raw JSON. Title of test task. Description of some test tasks. And let's see if you still have an issue. We're still getting an internet server error. Whoa. /get tasks. Okay, let's change it to a get requests and then see if we got any tasks. Oops. App use task, get tasks. Okay. Wow. Okay, let's say kctmr dot cloud dot cyclic cloud. KCTMR cyclic case KodeCamp task manager, like so. Okay, so let's make use of the one in the cloud. Since we're having an issue here, we don't have that time to go ahead and debug all of this. Let me just go ahead and paste it here. And then let's make a get request to tasks. This is internet server error here again. Wow. And this is not good. Okay, send it like this. Okay, we're actually getting /tasks. Okay, let's say /token auth /register, and then change this to a post request, and then send a request. Wow. So at this point, we'll switch out of this quickly and then make use and re-implement this. I was supposed to check this earlier, but then it escaped my mind. So what we will do now is create another folder of task manager. Let's see Express Task Manager ETM, and inside of this folder we create an index.js, and stop this, Ctrl+C, go out of this, and the code can now cd into the ETM. We have an index.js inside of the ETM. Then we say npm init-y. Okay, we have a package JSON. We say type module, and then in here we say npm id prisma, then node mon. We'll have an env file .env port instead of here. Why is it taking so long to install, please? Okay, we're done. So npm i express Then we import express from express. So const app is equal to express. So app gets index routes, and then we say request response. Say response send hello. You see app listen 3000 with a callback function log app running on port 3000. Then inside of our package JSON file, we specify a start script or a dev script. Dev, you see node-mon index.js like this. Say npm run dev. Okay, app running on port 3000. Okay, so let's stop this and then we see npm I at prisma/client. Come over to this place and then quickly copy our database URL to this place like this. And it's taking time. Okay, so we see mpx prisma init dash data source provider MongoDB. I think this is the command. Okay, so we now have our Prisma folder, and then we'll quickly model our task. We'll model our task. They will have an ID of a string. Say it's an ID with a default value of auto at db.object ID. Okay, then we'll map at map ID like so. Then we have the title of a string, and then the description string, and completed of Boolean, and the default value is false. This okay. So we are good to go. Then we set up our Prisma. Inside this index, you see import Prisma client from our Prisma client. You see const db is equal to new Prisma client. In here we have two handlers for getting task and creating task. First of all, let's start npm run dev. Okay. npx prisma generate. Okay, npm run div. Okay, server is running, so let's test it out on localhost 3000. Hello. Okay, so now let's postfix this with get, and then create another route, and then with create, and in here say const task is equal to Prisma equal to await db. We have an async here. We have db is equal to new Prisma client db task find many, like so, and then we say response dot the status of 200 JSON tasks. Okay, and then in here we see we get access to the const title description is equal to request body await db task create. You have data title and then description, like so. Okay, and async here, like this. Okay, so let's go ahead and create some tasks, and then we can be able to implement our pagination and the rest of those. So in here, we send a /get. Okay, we have an empty array. And here, let's send another request of HTTP. So let's just copy this and paste. Paste here, AV. Create, and then this is a post request, and then we have the title of test and description of some task. Let's send this request. We have an error, cannot create. What is here is /create request response. Okay, res status 201.json task. Okay, let's just see. Task is equal to like this. Res status 201 JSON task. Okay, so now let's try again. HTTP localhost 3000 create. We're sending the body of title, send again. Let's see, getting this error, cannot post /create. Okay, app post, not get. App post, like so. It's crashing basically. And it's saying, can use the property of title variable as this undefined. Postman, title, description, raw JSON. Log request body. Let's just comment this out. Okay, the request body is undefined. And why is the request body undefined? You have HTTP post, HTTP local 3000 create, and then the body here, title, and then description. Raw JSON, title, body, create, title, description. Slash create, app post slash create. You have request response. Title description should be coming from the request body, and the request body is empty. So what's actually happening? Wow. I think today it's kind of okay, so we have to debug this as well because we're getting an undefined of title and an undefined of a description. The whole of the task body is coming as undefined. And we have a body, the raw JSON, and we're sending in the title and description. Cancel it and then check it out once more. Still coming as undefined request body. Okay, log request body. This is a post request. Okay. So up here we say app use express JSON. So let's send this request again and see. Here is create. Cancel this and then check in our terminal. Okay, we have title. Okay, so that was a mistake we're making. We're not doing that. And then in here, let's send also our description, some task, then send, cancel, check our terminal. Okay, we have some title. Okay, that's actually great. The mistake was from us. Then let's do this. Then send this request again. Error. Res. Okay. Okay, so we've created our task. So what we're going to be doing here is we create randomly many tasks. So we're going to be making this as fast as possible so that we can then finish with Postman today. And the next we'll move on. We don't have to be stuck in here. We'll learn API documentation. We'll just rush it and then make it a bit faster. Random title, let's say job title as we did earlier, and then random random lorem ipsum paragraph, like so. So we're not going to be saving this. So now we'll send this request multiple times. Send again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I think we've got enough tasks. So now we'll come back and then implement our pagination. So what else should we be getting from this? We should be getting inside our request, we should be getting const. This is equal to request query. And each here we should be getting our title. Okay, our title, not here, here. Title, sort, page, and what else? Filter, like this. And then first of all, we say, because page count is equal to parse int page. And then what else do we need? Apart from the page count, we need page count, page size. Page size is equal to 2, or let's make it a 3. And then we say we also need skip. Const skip is equal to page count minus 1 multiplied by page size, like so. So inside of our query, then we say skip, find many with an object of skip, and then take, we should take page size, right? Take page size. The page count is the offset. So in here, we'll come back and then we'll send a request, a get request with some params. Not really params, but then this is a request query. Okay. In here, we'll say page should be 1. Okay, let's get the first page. Okay, so how many items are we returning? 1, 2, 3. Actually returning 3. And then we have some, the ones I created, some 2 times, and then district data officer 1. Then let's make the page 2. Okay, we're returning different tasks, chief, accountants, investor, and let's make it 1 again. We're returning 3 tasks per page, and that's what we want. Send it again. Okay, and we got some, okay, it's working as expected. So what next? That's our pagination. And I earlier explained it. I will still go briefly over it and explain it again. So what we have here is actually the page count is the actual page we want to fetch the post. And then the page size is 3. We want to fetch 3 posts, 3 tags per page. So what we want to do here is, if we are passing in a page of page 1, you see page 1, that is 1 minus 1 is 0, and 0 times page size is also 0. So we're not skipping anything. We want to fetch 3 tasks for that first page. That's actually what we want to do. We want to fetch 3 tasks for the first page without skipping anything. But if the page specified is page 2, we want to subtract the page by 1. That is remaining 1. 1 minus 1 is 1, and then 1 times page size, 1 times 3 is still 3. So we skip, what are we skipping? We're skipping the first page. Do you understand? And then not really the first page, but the first tasks, first 3 tasks. We skip the first 3 tasks and then we'll fetch the next 3 tasks. And this page size is also known as the offset. So if we specify our page to be page 2, we say 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, we've discussed the 2. And then 3, if our page is page 3, we say 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. So we skip the first 6 and then fetch the next 3. That is on page 3. We're returning 3 tasks per page. So we skip the first 6 tasks and then fetch the next 3, making it a total of 9 tasks. But we're not displaying the first 6. We're only displaying the next 3. So that is what this pagination it's all about. If you want to control the amount of task you have, and that's quite awesome. And the next is sort. We're going to be sorting our page, and then inside of the sort we see we add another option here of ordered by. This will take an object and then we say title, and then we'll say ascending, like this. We're getting in a title. We're not really passing in any title, but we're saying sort this by the title and by in an ascending order. You should sort our task by their title and it should be in an ascending order. So we'll come down here, send this request. We have SS and then D. Then we're expecting the D to be to appear first before the sum. Page 1, chief. Okay, all the C's are coming before the D. Let's check out page 2. Okay, and then we have our D, our F. Then let's check out page 3. We have our I, then SS. Okay, it's working as expected. Then we're sorting by the title. And then let's come back here. Okay, we want to sort by title, but we want to pass in. Let's remove this title here and then use the sort. The title should be the sort. Either the sort should be in ascending or descending order. Then we'll come down here and then we'll pass a sort. Sort. Then we'll pass ascending. Send. Okay, still working. Then we have SSI. So let's change it to descending and then see what we've got. Okay, now descending page 1. Okay, so we have our S first, I, then D, then C. It's now in descending order. So our sort is working as expected as well. And then now what next do we have on our list? We have filtering. We've implemented pagination sorting and now we want to implement filtering. We want to actually filter our tasks. And how do we want to filter it? We want to filter it either by the title or by the completed. What we will do here is we say where or we take an array with the first object of title, and then the title is also take an object contains, and then let's pass in the title. Let's bring back the title here because we need it. And then we also need the completed. Here we say completed. You say completed exactly equal to true. So return true, else false like this. So let's now pass in I don't know any of, okay, let's pass in some title of some, send. Oh wow, that's great. So we only have the sum here, and then if you pass in completed of true, I think we get an empty array. Yes, because all the tasks are not completed. We have completed of false. All the tasks are not completed. If you try to fetch all the tasks here, okay, let's now change this to false. Okay, so all these are false and the title of some. So let's change this title to include ch. I think there are some titles that will have ch. Okay, d. Let's just enter d. Okay, forward. Okay, let's enter agent to make sure it's working properly. Agent. No agent, no title with agent. AG. Oh wow. A. Investor. Investor. Empty array. So why is this so? Title, some description. So okay, I think that's it for pagination. Then sorting and filtering. But what if the page is not specified? Okay, let's, for instance, take out this page and save our code and then make this request once more. Okay, so we're getting an error. We're not handling errors. That's why the code is breaking. But then you see an error page here. Page is not defined. Okay, let's come back here and then add our page. Okay, so now it's time to take this out and then make it properly implement it. So inside of this place, we see const query is equal to an empty object literal. Then we'll come down here. I'll just copy this, cut it, not copy, cut this like this, and then assign it to this query. And then come in here, pass this query to this find many function. Okay, come down here and then make a request once more. Okay, and as you can see, it's working. Okay, so now what we want to do is query is equal to, because there will always be a page. Okay, so let's say if there's no page, and then we default it to 1. And then in here, okay, let's say here page is undefined. We just remove it like this. And then send a request. Or there's a page, but then there's no value. Send it. What's happening? Break. Start it. Send. Skip is missing. Argument skip. Page count. Page count. Argument skip is missing. Okay, let's skip. Okay. Let's default this to 0 as well. And then send the request once more. And why is this throwing an error? Argument skip is missing. Okay, but that's not what, let's go out straight to the point and then implement what we want to implement. Then we say query is equal to take skip and then take page size. Okay, now there will always be a page, either the first page or yes, there will always be a page, either 1 or 2. But when you first of all fetch your tasks, the first page will be returned. So the first 3 tasks will be returned. And then we have our query here. And then we want to also add the sort, but because it's not always that we pass in the sort, but we want to say if there's a sort, like if sort, we want to do something like query or sorted, sorry, ordered, not sorted, order by is equal to, and then we come here, say title, like so, and then we say title, and it should be, title should be sort, the sort that we're passing in. And then let's comment, first of all, comment this out. Then make our request again. Okay, it's in descending order. And then let's remove the title of sum. And then pass in some D. Let's just pass in D as an argument. Okay, we'll have this completed false, and then descending order. Let's make it an ascending order, so to be sure it's working. So we have forward mobility representative, then forward applications agent. But this time around, I think we should have ascending, sort is ascending, and then let's make this a page of 2. F. The title D. What? You know, just let's remove the title and then make sure this one is working first. Then we'll come back to this. So now let's remove the title and then let's send the request. Okay, so we have all of this sorted in ascending order. Let's make it descending order. FD. Okay, so now it's in descending order. So this is actually working. And if now if you don't pass in any sort, you won't get any error, as you can see, because this will evaluate to false. This, if sort, then this will take and this will be added to the query. But if there's no sort, then this will not be added to the query, so it will evaluate to false. And then down here is the same thing we do. We say if, and this time around, what are we? If completed, or let's say if title or completed. We'll do something like query where, sorry, is equal to, you see, or with an array of an object, title with another object contains the title we are sending in, like this. I'll just take out the completed, leave the title. So now let's go back and send in a title of D. Or sum. Let's just say sum. Oops. And why is this returning an empty array? Title contains title. Page of 2, completed false. Let's remove this completed, send. But returning, okay, query ordered by and query where all title contains title, yes. But then we're still getting an error. Not really an error, but we're getting an empty array of which is not supposed to be so. Contains title. Okay. Completed. Let's just copy this whole object. Let me say completed. So where we remove this one and then we say completed. Completed is coming in form of a string. If it is exactly equal to true, then we say true, return true, else return false. Okay, so now let's test this out again and see. Completed false first. Let's do away with the title, send. Completed false, then let's change this completed to true. Okay, so it's working. And you notice that if we don't pass in the completed, our query will still work as expected. So the reason why we're doing all of this is because, and you can change this into a switch statement with a default. And then that default, you easily pass in this query, a skip with a page count of 1, and then page size of 3 and all of that. But in this case, then we can go ahead and remove this code we just commented out like this. Like this. And then our query is working as expected. Inside the find menu, we just pass in our query. So what we are doing here is we're saying if sort is evaluated to true, then we should add this object to this query object, which is order by. And then let me bring this back. This order by is also an object inside of this query object. And you know that in adding objects, you can add an object to this query by saying query order by, something like this is equal to, and then you see an object of title sort like this. Or you can add it as query dot order by is equal to, as we just did. Okay, so it depends on your own use, depend on how, if you have a word like say this is not order by and then something like order by, then you have to do something like this, because if you try to do it like order by, then your code will break and you get an error. Okay, so these are different ways of adding objects. So if this evaluates to true, then we should add this object into this query object so that we can use it in our find menu function. And if this title evaluates to true, if it's a title, and then we should add this one also. If it's a completed passed in, then we should add it also so we can use it in our query object. So we can easily say here title so let's just leave it like that. And I think we're done with pagination, filtering, and then sorting, as you can see. Okay, so now what next do we have on our list? We have Postman. And I think we should just move over to API design Postman before we don't have that much time, but then we should actually talk about Postman. What is an API? How to install Postman, request window, and all of that. So collect, and then we need to explore Postman in depth so we can understand. So I think we should let's just head over to GitHub. Then repos KodeCamp 3.0. And I think we have let's switch over to API design. Express task manager source. Okay, so this a Postman MD file here. So the first in our list is what is Postman. Okay. So I think I prepared something special for you, so you can go ahead and then look at it. What is Postman? Postman is a popular and widely used API development and testing tool that helps developers and teams design, build, test, and document API more efficiently. To use API requests whatsoever, these are the things we have in Postman: test automation, environment sharing, and collaboration documentation. Then we have collections in Postman. In Postman collections, when you get to collections, we come over again. Then we have API. And here we have how to install Postman request window. What is an API? So I think I will have to talk about this API a little bit before we move to the request window and then response window and all of that. Okay, what's an API? An API, or application programming interface, set of rules and protocols that allows one software application or system to interact with another. It defines the method and data formats that application can use to request and exchange information. APIs are used to enable the integration of different software systems, allowing them to work together and share data and functionality. So here are the key points to understand about APIs. The communication bridge, abstract layer, data exchange, functionality, access, and all of that. So you can go ahead and then read this, make sure you understand what APIs are. And then we have types of APIs. There are various types of APIs, including web APIs, library or frameworks APIs, hardware APIs, operating system APIs. But in our case, we are dealing with the hardware, the web APIs. These are exposed over the internet and allow remote access to services and data. It allows remote access to services and data. And then RESTful and SOAP APIs are common examples. Then you have API documentation, security, and API lifecycle. And then I took my time to bring out web APIs more so we can understand more about web APIs. That's actually what we're dealing with. We have a web API. Application programming interface is a set of rules and protocols that allow different software applications or systems to communicate and then exchange data over the internet. It defines the method and data formats that applications can use to request and then transmit information. So here are key characteristics and aspects of web APIs. We have the HTTPS based /HTTPS. Web APIs typically use the hypertext transfer protocol or its secure version, HTTPS, as a communication protocol. And then your URL endpoint, data format, XML or JSON, and all of that, statelessness, authentication, authorization, documentation, SOAP or GraphQL, and all of that. Make sure you go over this and then you try to understand very well about APIs. And then how to install Postman. I think how to install Postman, you go to the Postman. Let's check out Postman. You go to this Postman official website. It's taking a little bit of time to open up. Okay, this is the web-based Postman. If you don't want to use this one, you can use the one on the web version. This is the web version actually, but I'm using the desktop version. But if you want to download Postman on your system, you just click here, download Postman, and then this page will open, or you visit the official website and you say /downloads, and then this page will open with I'm using a Mac, so automatically detected my operating system and say, is it Mac Intel chip or the Mac Apple chip, the M1 chip or M2 chip, and all of that. But if you're using a Windows, it will automatically detect and say Windows or all of that. So that's, if you come here, then you click, if I click Mac Intel chip, you start downloading, and I don't want to download it actually. No, cancel. I don't want to download it like that. Come here, then we leave that site. So that's basically how to download. And after downloading, if you don't have an account with Postman, you actually just create an account and then log in and start using Postman. Okay, so let's come back to Postman. So here is our request window. So here, the whole of this place, from here down to this place, down to here, down to this blue line is our request window. And inside of our request window, what do we have? We have the API address, the request method, the headers, and request body. So here is our API address, and this is the address bar. This one is the address bar. Here is our API address, and here is our API request. The get, post, put, patch, delete, head, options, or anyone at all you wish to use. Okay, and then we have the headers and the request body. Here is where we type our request body, and our request body can be of type none. If we don't have any request body, the request does not have a body. That's in terms of get request, you don't have a body. And then a form data, your request can be in form of a form data. That is the key. You can select text or a file. Then if it's a number, you can actually convert it in your application as a number. Form data or XWW form URL encoded, or it can be a binary data where you can select a binary file and then upload, something like that. Or it can be in form of a GraphQL, where this is your query and then your GraphQL variables. But in this case, our own is in a JSON form, and it can be a raw, in form of a raw data, is a text, JavaScript, JSON, HTML, or XML. There is extensible markup language, that is XML, but in our case, it is JSON. So we have the headers. Inside of these headers, Postman automatically adds some headers for us, which is content type, the host, the user agent, the accept, and then you can go ahead and then try to check the meaning of all these things. The host is the host, in this case, localhost 3000 in our application, and then user agent Postman runtime 7.330, and the content type calculated when request is sent, it will be calculated. That is, if we send a JSON, a content length, you calculate the content length automatically. In this case, we are sending a JSON. So let me change this to text and then come to our headers. Then we have content type text/plain and not longer a JSON, but if it's changed this to JSON, then we come to headers, we have application/JSON, then Postman token, then we have accept encoding. This is telling Postman is telling you can accept zip files, deflect, and BR. I don't know which one is BR or deflect, but I know it exists. Then connection, keep this connection alive so that when we make subsequent requests, the server will know, oh, this is Postman coming in, so no need for more checks, allow Postman, and then Postman token, all of that. So that's for the headers. And then we have the response window, the status code, headers, and response body. Okay. Here is our response window. Let's expand it. So what first do we have? We have the status code, the headers. Status code. Okay, so we have the status code, the time of the request, and then the size of the request. We have the response size, 1.2 kilobytes. The body is 992 bytes, and then the headers, 237 bytes, making a total of 1.2 kilobytes. You can even save your response. Then we have 290 milliseconds for this request. We can have we have a chart here of socket initializing took 4.2 milliseconds. The domain name system lookup took 0.45 milliseconds, and I believe you know what a domain name system lookup is. Then TCP handshake took 1.86 milliseconds. Then transfer start. It started at the 281.52 milliseconds, then downloaded in 1.92 milliseconds. So a total of 339.27 milliseconds. So that's quite a little amount of time. Then our status code is 200, and then the status is okay. Okay, so that's great. And then what else do we have? We have the headers and the response body. In our headers, we have, as you can see, X powered by Express. Okay, and then the content type application JSON, character set of UTF-8, content length 992, e tag this, date this, connection keep alive. The what Postman sent here, after calculating and then sending the content length, Express will respond with this content length, which is it will recalculate in that it is send the request with this content length, then Express will send its own response with its content length, depending on the kind of content it's sending to the client. Then the dates they keep alive time of timeout is 5. I don't know, it's 5 seconds. Okay, let's check custom header. All these are custom headers. Okay, so that's actually sweet. Then what else do we have on the list? And then the response body. Okay, here is our response body. This is the response body. The response body can be in form of JSON or XML. This is our response body in form of XML or HTML, but this cannot be converted to HTML because it's JSON, or text, and this is actually text, or auto. And if you change it to auto, Postman already knows it's JSON, so it will appear as a JSON file. Visualize response, linear chart, bar graph, table, or set up with a prompt, anyone you wish to. Preview. Then we can preview this in a window with this formatted voice note, or you can make it raw and then copy it anyhow. So this is pretty. You can make it pretty, so this is JSON, and then this is colored, formatted, and then here we have our cookies, but now we don't have any cookies. Now, if our server is not down, if you make a request to sign in or register a user, once sending, we'll see these cookies here, because if we making subsequent requests require those cookies. So any cookies sent, and we'll use it to send subsequent requests. And then later on, we'll write test and see how our test can pass. Okay, that's great. So what else do we have on our list? Collection and variables. Okay. And today, maybe our server went down for a reason, because I had it in mind to explore each request bit by bit, but then our server is down. So we have to create a minimal server so we can then go ahead and accomplish today's goals. But then we have collections and variables. Okay. And we don't have a delete. Maybe we'll implement that, but maybe we may not, maybe we may. But then I just want to go over it. We talk about collection, environmental variables, collection request, which is get. Then we talk about query parameters and path variables. These are very, very important. So we'll go over it briefly with the remaining time, the little time we have. So collections here, as you can see, these are not saved. This request here, if I want to remove it, Postman, do you want to save? If I say cancel, then it will cancel. But if I hit Command S, or if let's say Command S, and then it will say create a collection. And if you don't want to create a collection in this way, what you can do is come here, collections, and then create a collection. There's a button here, create collection. And all this on the side, if your Postman on your desktop application does not appear like this, look at them here. You can then do like this. They remove all of those by disabling them here, or you can then enable them back by checking these buttons. And here is the icon if you want to get access to this tab here. Okay, so in here we create a collection and then we call it, we rename this collection to just come here and then give it a name of task manager like this. Hit enter. And then we have our task manager collection. Then it's asking us to add request. So what we're going to do is we just go ahead and save. This should be a get request, not post. Get request. Send. Okay, it's working. So we'll go ahead and save this. Or just click save. And then save to select a collection. We select this. First of all, we change the name to get tasks. And then select this collection. We want to save it and then click save. I can see this request is added in our task manager collection. So here the same thing. You can click save or type Ctrl S on Windows and then Command S on Mac and save. Change this name to create task. And then we'll select, we want to save it to our task manager. Then we have 2 requests under this task manager. So this is now a collection. This collection has 2 requests, a get request and a post request. Okay, so that's great. And oh, this is not okay. I thought it would expand. And I forgot to talk about the console. The console here, every request we make, it's appearing here with the headers, the network. We have the network address, the local address, one IP6 port 508, the remote is at the IPv port 3000. Okay, that's great. This is the remote address and then the local address. There's a network information, the request headers, application JSON content type, host, localhost 3000. Yes, because our app is using localhost 3. Postman token is this connection keep alive, content line 63. And then the request body. This is the request body. The X powered by Express, because we're using Express, and then all of that. So this is our console. We have 9 errors. These errors, click here. You see your error messages here. Connect. The connection refused to this port. This is a local address, 127.0.0.1. This is localhost actually. That's all for the console. We'll talk about the console later on. We want to write some tests. And then we have some requests here. So what are we going to do with our requests? We have collections with those requests and then environmental variables. Okay, so if you want to add any environmental variable, you click this eye icon. And then you have environment and then you have globals. And any environmental variable you add in this global can be accessed in this collection and any other collection. Let's say we want to add another collection, a blank collection of, let's say the name is test, like so. So if, let's say you have, let's add another request of test request. And now we have 2 collections here, the task manager and then the test request. So any environmental variable, let's go ahead and add let's say test variable, and let's make it a default, not actually a secret. And then the initial variable should be any initial. And then they say, okay, let's leave it as any. And then we'll go ahead and save it. Then come to this get tasks and then try to access this, let's say test variable, and then try to access it here. And then accessing variables will do something like this. As you can see, this test is appearing here. As look at this G. This G is actually a global. And then you can see the initial value. The initial value is any, the current value is any, and the scope is global. Then if you hit your test, then you can see test is equal to test and all of that. And then you can come to this place and then access your test. If you come here and then hit this, you can see access your test here with a value of any, and but let's go ahead and disable this here also. What you want to do next is come here and then add an environmental variable. Okay, and then let's say this is a task manager. This is no global. We want to add variables to this task manager, and then the first, let's say this should also be a test, and with the default of just default, and then say test current value tests, and then we'll just save it. Then if you come to remove it, come here, remove this. In the test here, what do we name it? Test. I've forgotten the name. I think we did not save it. Task manager of a test, and then test. Save it. Environment. Okay, we saved it now. Okay, let's remove this one. Delete. Come over here, save this test, and then we want to access okay, so why is this? Let's just delete this and let's save. Remove it. Come here. Okay. Don't save. Let's come to our collection get here. I think this is where we need to access this. And we're not getting access to our variable. So what's happening? Environment. New environment. Delete this. We have initial value, current value of test. Let's save it. Let's make it a secret. Maybe something like that. The variable is test. Or let's say task ID to differentiate it. And then in our collections, let's say ID, the value of okay. So why are we not? Aha. Okay, so we did not, we're setting this to no environment. So that was the reason why we're not getting access to our environment variables here. Task manager in this task manager this thing. So if you come to this request here, I want to get access to this. We can still get access to it, but in here we can set this to no environment. Then if you set this to no environment here, you cannot get access to that very thing. But if you come back here, change the environment to task manager, then you can get access to your task ID like so. And if you hover over it, you see that this is a secret. And if you click here, you see that the initial value is test, the current value is also test. Okay, so that's it for environmental variables. And then the create task, we have random variables here on the body that we've been using. If you want to use a random variable, you can do something like this. We have many of them. Let's say, for example, we say sum. And if you want to access a random variable, you curly braces, open curly braces, 2 of them, then a $sign. You can go ahead, a GUID, ISO timestamp, random abbreviation, random abstract image, random adjective, and all of that. We have a lot of them. If you want to generate a data randomly that we've been doing, you can go ahead and then use them. Okay, so what we have on the list? We have a GET request. Every collection has its request. Like this collection, it's a GET, and we cannot change it. We just allow it to remain like so that anytime we want to make a request, we just click here, and then we get our data back with a response of OK and response status of 200. And this create task is a post request. You don't go ahead and change. You don't change this. Every request has to have it has its own request method. So you cannot come and change this to GET as we've been doing. Whenever we were yet to touch Postman, that was the reason why I was doing that. But for now, don't change anything because this is also good for documentation. Okay, so now let's go ahead and then move to the next item, which is query parameters. Okay, let's say, for instance, come to the params, disable this, get tasks. These are parameters. And if you notice, let's disable this. If you come here to this get and then impute a question mark, you see that there's a checkbox here being checked already. And any value you impute, now you have this. Then it's a kind of a key value pair. If you say SO is equal to sum, you can see the key is SO and the value is sum as we've imported here. But if you don't want to do that manually, you can come in here and then check this. You can see that test is equal to, and then the value here, you can see sum. Because these are our query parameters. And what if you want to send an ID? Okay, let's add a request. We want to add a request. Let's actually save this one. Close this, close this, close this. Save changes. Save. Okay, now let's add a request of let's quickly copy this one here. Paste it here. And then say slash. And then notice down here, inside of this query params, notice another table will be added. You add a column, and then you say task ID. Can you see this table is with a name of path variables? And the next, you can see our path variables and query parameters here. So this is just how to add path variables. You just add a column and then the task ID. Okay, let's assume we want to fetch a task. Let's say we come here and then we see task ID. We want to fetch this task by its ID. But first of all, let's make a request to some tasks here. No. And let's save this one. Save. Get task. This is also a get request, and then we'll save it to this our collection. Get task. Okay, so now let's get plenty tasks. Let's send this request. Okay. Whoops, error. What's this? Prisma client is this and that and this and that. What is it complaining about Prisma? Page. You're sending a page. Okay, let's grab this ID here. And let's edit our environment variables. Edit this. Let's not make this a secret. We'll edit here. This is not the secret, this is a default. Change type to default. And then in here, let's leave it to task ID. Let's say a string. And we'll see in a minute why this is very important. Then in here, we'll come and say the current value is this. Then we'll save it. Okay, so in our get request, we'll save this. We'll come to, sorry, let's do this. Let's come to our get task. Then let's make a request. Okay. We don't have this route handled in our application. So what we want to do is, you see, app get / get task await rec res like this. Const task is equal to await. This is async and not await. Async and then await db task find unique. Should you say find unique? Yeah, should be find unique, like so. Where ID, and then we have to get the ID from const ID is equal to request params ID. We're not destructuring it. So like this, you say response status 200 JSON task. Okay, so now let's come back to Postman and then make this request / get task, or we want to get access to that ID. Say task / ID like this. Okay, so let's send this request once more. Okay, so this is the particular task we sent to the ID. Can you see this? The initial value is a string, but then the current value is this. Okay, so this is it for path variables. And then we have the query parameters. If you want to access the path variables, you access it from the query request params ID, and then you get access to the ID like this. But then we have other, this is from the request query, page size, all of this from the request query, or this from the request path. You can get your ID from the request path and make use of it here. And we have to do this so that Express will know that you are expecting an ID from this endpoint. So we can use the ID to get the task we want to get. Okay, so this is it for environment variables. And then what item do we have next? We have collection requests. What is happening? Okay, we have collection requests, post requests, patch request, delete, and all of that. So in this case, we are not, you already know how to make a patch delete request, but the general context here is that if you want to add a patch request, make sure you don't modify it. What is request we have, so that in terms of documentation, okay, let's now, we want to add some documentation. Okay, so now we'll click here. So this is the home page, and then you see task manager. This is it. Now view complete documentation. If you click view complete documentation, look at our API here. As you can see, you can add a description here of returns a list of tasks. Then you can come down to this one. As you can see, you see that the title here is the request here is get, and then the title is get tasks, and this is the URL /get (page equal to 2), or you can say page is equal to let's go back to edit this one, and then you add page, and then the current value is a number, and then you see here 2. You save it, come back to get tasks. In your page, you see page. Okay, so now let's go back to our task. As you can see, here we have sort, descending order, page, number, title. We want to make this generic. You understand? You can say title is a string, completed is a Boolean. Then we remove this test. We don't need this. This is not part of our. Delete this. Save it. Open this, and then we don't have test here anymore. As you can see, this is the documentation of our API. The task manager. We have jumped. You can jump to the get request, the create task, the get task, and our get task we have this /task ID. Returns a single task by its ID. Let's save that, and then the path variables here we have task ID string, and this is the task ID. This task ID is specifying to the user this should be a string, okay, so that anybody can be able to use our API. And in here we have the query parameters of an ID. Create task. I think we're not supposed to have. Here we're showing an example. Okay, let's remove this, save it, and then come back here. View complete documentation. We have create a single task like this. As you can see, this is a post request, create task, and this is the URL you will use to create task, and it will create a single task, and the body should be in form of a JSON. You can view more. You can see the body should be like this, and then we can change this to body. The reason why we're getting this random string here because of the random variables we use. It's randomly generating and filling this up for us. We have a title of the task and then the description, like so. The body is raw JSON format, as you can see, and all of this. And then the one nice thing about this is we can go ahead and then publish our API. Okay, so now let's publish it. Publish. Okay, so the version is current. Environment, we set the environment to this our task manager. Then the custom domain, there's no custom domain. URL, double column, and all of that. Appearance, double column, and then let's make Postman logo, SEO. Title we say task manager, and then say a simple task manager for the description, like so. We don't have any public workspace. SEO, this is for SEO, and then we say let's preview our documentation. So this is how our documentation will appear to everybody. Can you see this? You can jump to the get task, create task, like this. This is the layout, double column. Then you can change the language to, let's say, JavaScript. Any language you're using, you can say NodeJs Axios, NodeJs native, NodeJs request, anyone. In this case, let's say the JavaScript fetch. And then we can see how we can say, okay, here request options method is get, the body is raw, redirect is follow, and then we can see the URL is so get page is equal to number and then request options. We append this fetch with the request options, but it is JSON, not raw. The reason why it's saying raw here is because of the raw type in the that. So the raw body title, the task, and the description, and then it's passed in here. The body raw, and it passed in this and all of that. Okay, so if we drop to the get task, the get task here is simply, okay, the reason why we're getting this here is because we left a body in our postman in the get task. Collections, get, the body, remove this. It's not supposed to have a body. Okay, in here, come to our get task. As you can see, there's no body here, but the method is get, the redirect is follow, and then the options are here, response, and this error that. So this is our documentation, part variables, returns a string so that others can be able to use it. And you can add other details to make it simple, and then you can change your theme to dark, light, dark, light. Okay, so now let's go ahead and publish this. Documentation published, as you can see. And this is the documentation URL. You can go ahead and make use of it. Let's click it, and our documentation will open for us. So anybody can be able to go ahead and then use this documentation. So that's basically how to document our API. Okay, so that's basically it. Okay, so that's basically how to use Postman. And one thing we've not touched is API testing. API testing. But then in our next class, we'll touch a little bit of API testing. We'll talk about all of this briefly, and then we'll move over to real-time application with WebSockets. We'll be done with API and then Postman Tuesday next week. So we don't have time. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask. But if you don't have any, we'll call it a day. Any questions? Yeah, Said, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much for the class. The question I want to ask is about the pagination. The pagination object, can we return the object of pagination, like the current page, the total page, total row count, and if there is previous or next page, so that the front end developer can make use of it?
Yes, you can return the count, but the front end developer, the client that is sending the page number, will make use of the page number. The page number will be shown in the client. If you send two, if you're using a check, a drop down or a form input, you will store it in the local storage so that if you refresh your page, it will show. But for you to send the page number means you have access to that page number so that they can keep track of it. This is page 1, this is page 2. And then you already know, we can actually make our API return the total number of posts, but that will be in our next class. We don't have time to go over that for today.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So if that's all, we can call today a complete day for the class. I'm sorry for what happened. I don't know why our server is down, but then I would make sure I persist the server and it never goes down again. I will check it out and see what's wrong with it. Maybe we made a mistake. We were just hurrying and then doing things. But later on, we'll see how we can combine our coding skills with DevOps to make things work right. So thank you, and we'll see you in our next class.